All right, all right, everyone. Welcome back to this wonderful presentation. My name is Joseph Riches, and we still have the guests in the house. You know, welcome back. We are in the part two. We are discussing about polygamous part two and the New Testament view on that. New Testament guidance on that. So we have discussed about the Old Testament view and on the polygamous, which make us to understand that we polygamous is allowed according to the Jew culture. Is allowed, and God endorses it. There's no place in the Old Testament that really states that polygamous is a sin. So, and the Old Testament also make us understand that according to the scripture, it is meant for the Jew and Jew alone. So, and is only and according to the Jew culture, is only allowed for the men. So it is not allowed for the women, and it has never been in according to the Jew culture. We have not seen it in the scripture where a woman married more than one husband. So now we are going to the New Testament view, where I and you belong, because the New Testament is meant for the Gentiles, and the who are the Gentiles? The Gentiles, which are the people that are not Abraham's seed. So
Physical.
we became physically became Abraham's seed through the gap that Jesus Christ filled. We became Abraham's seed through what Christ did on the cross of Calvary. That is why I and you, we can be competing. Let me just use that word. It is not allowed. It is allowed, but let me just, that's the reason why we can be um, having a kind of fellowship with the Jew,
Mm.
with the Jew today.
Partakers.
Partake, yeah, partaker, yeah. Let me. That word is a good word, partaker. So now let's go to our guest. Before I go to our guest, if you are watching us, subscribe on this YouTube channel for you to get an update and for you to get more of this video, and also to click on the bell for you to get a notification whenever we are live. And also, if you want to participate in this discussion, you can reach out to me privately. I will send you a link privately in order to always join us on this discussion. And also, you can, my number is there to reach out to me privately. So now our guest is here, Mr. Richard. Now we want to talk about the New Testament view on polygamous. So what is your own or according to the scripture, New Testament view on the polygamous? Over to you, sir.
Good. Thanks for this privilege. So, at the previous episode of our discussion, we talked about what applied in the Old Testament, and when we talked about new polygamy in the Old Testament, we discovered that it wasn't God's perfect will for human to have a polygamous relationship. And when you read, when we, as we continue in this discussion, when we see what Jesus' idea or Jesus's principle of relationship, marriage relationship, he even made mention of something from our Old Testament Bible. That's from the book of Genesis, where he said that in the beginning it was not so. That means God had an intention for marriage. God had an intention for marriage. Was it a polygamous marriage or was it a monogamous marriage? So, in our discussion, we are going to know. Now, for one thing, for us to know whether certain thing is sin or not, because that's the question they will ask you, is this sin? So that question, it's a kind of complex question, because when you say yes, people may show you. That is why people will go to the Old Testament and bring instances where God's people had polygamous relationship, where God permissively allowed someone like David to have polygamous relationship, and why David, in fact, from where we read in the book of Second Samuel chapter 12 verse 8, where God said that he himself gave David wives. Gave him the wives of his master, meaning that God gave him polygamous relationship. So
Sorry that I want to intrude. Can you
yes,
just throw out the verse where God said He gave David wives, so that people can,
yes,
when they hear this at the part two, maybe some people do not go through the part one. They just feel, what do
okay,
you mean? What are you saying? So if you
Second
don't get
Samuel.
it, just forget about it. This is not allowed yet. So give them. You will not forget about it. We have to look at it in the Bible for you to say
Yes,
that it is what it is.
yes.
Yeah.
Second Samuel 12 verse 8. Second Samuel 12 chapter 8. Now it says,
Second
and I
Samuel. Okay,
12.
go ahead, sir.
Yes, chapter
I would like to read.
chapter 12 verse 8.
I would like to read, sir.
Okay, okay,
Always
you
let
can.
me read Bibles. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So Second Samuel 12 verse 8, he
8,
said,
yes.
I'm reading New Living Translation. I
Okay.
gave you your master house. I gave you your master's house and his wives and the kingdom of Israel and Judah.
You get that now. So God was the one who gave what? David Saul's house
Sorry, I think I would
and
like to finish
Saul's
it.
wives.
Hello, sir.
Okay, okay,
I
okay,
would like to finish. He said, I
okay.
gave you your master's house and his
House,
wives and the
wives,
kingdom of
the
Israel.
plural.
Yes, wives.
Yes.
Yeah. And the kingdom of Israel and Judah. And
Yes.
if that had not been enough, I
Mm-hmm.
would have given you much, much
More.
more.
So
So,
so it's a so if we say it's a sin, if we say it's a
hmm,
sin, if you bring
hmm.
out this verse, are you telling me that God made David put sin into the bosom of David? The answer is God will not put sin into anyone's bosom. But there are
Mm. It will
certain
not. It
things
will
that
not.
God,
Sorry, sir. It will not impute sin. It only
yes,
imputes righteousness.
yes, he imputes
Mm.
righteousness into people. So you now it now brings the question, why did God allow this? So you discover that this, when you hear Jesus's message concerning marriage and hear this, you discover that okay, maybe, not maybe, God must have permitted certain things to happen based on the weakness of certain people. Are you
Mm.
getting me? God must have
Okay.
allowed certain things. Just as we were discussing, you remember we were discussing with someone, he said there are permissive will of God and there are perfect will of God, as the
Mm.
person put it. But I would just say, okay, there are, God allows some things to happen permissively. Doesn't mean that that is his perfect will or that is his intention. Do you get that? Now let's read
Yeah.
book of okay. Now we give an instance. Some persons came to me. Let's read book of Matthew. So we are in the New Testament scriptures. Matthew chapter 19 from verse 4 to 6. Can we read? Matthew 19,
Matthew
yes, 19, 4 to 6.
4 to 6.
Yes.
Okay. Matthew 19 4 to
Was
6. I read.
Jesus' teaching against divorce,
Okay.
when he was talking about divorce? Yes,
Okay. Matthew 19 verse 4 to 6.
yes,
Haven't you read the scripture?
yes.
Jesus replied, they record that from the beginning God made them male and
Female,
female.
singulars. Yes.
Yeah. And he said, this explain why a man leave his fathers and mothers. and is joined to his wife, and the two are united into one. Verse 6. Since they are no longer two but one, let no one split apart what God has joined together.
Good. Do you get that? Now, Jesus there, when they were asking Jesus, is it right for a man to put his wife away? That was the question the Pharisees came. They came to tempt Jesus. They tempt him to not just to learn from him, but to find fault in him. So Jesus gave the original intention. When we say intention, we mean the design, God's design for marriage, whether for Old Testament people or whether for New Testament people. God gave a design. When we say design, but when an architect wants to build a house, and when someone wants to build a house, he meets an architect and tells the architect his design, and the architect will put the design down, isn't it? The architect will draw it down, we put what we call the house plan and the rest of. So that will be your original design. But while you build, or after you build, you may decide, okay, there's certain things that happen maybe because of your own weakness or the taste of your tenant or the taste of the occupant. He may decide that, okay, this place I need to add something, this place I need to add something, this place I need to add something. And when you read the book of Genesis, say everything that God created was good. Not just good, his will are perfect. So when God's original plan for marriage, God's original design for marriage is that it was between a male, that is one male, and one female. Now, not just that, he said that the two will join together and they will become one
Become
flesh.
one.
One flesh, good. He didn't say three.
Yes.
He didn't say the man or the husband will join to his wives. That is
Mm.
plural. He didn't say a singular man will join to his plural wives, or a singular, a plural wife, a husbands, plenty husband joining to one wife. What did he say? He said that one man will join to one wife and they will become one flesh. That is God's original intention. And who is he coming? Is coming from the mouth of Jesus. So Jesus won't lie. Jesus won't lie. Doesn't have anything to gain from that. So God original intention for marriage has been always between one man and one wife. So how did the polygamy come in to? I believe it came in through the weakness of people. What was God's intention for Israel also? Let's use that one. God's intention for Israel is that he will be both their king and their God at the same time. That was God's original intention for them. That was God's perfect intention for Israel. But what did Israel do? They saw other nations around them because other nations were having kings. They were having kings, rulers. They said they wanted to be like other nations. They too, they wanted kings like other nations. Then God said, okay, oh, in Yoruba, we say, Omogba Jensimi. Omogbajensinmi means in English, that is a Yoruba adage, which means that when a child disturbs you too much, maybe a child needs lollipop, for example, or needs biscuit, for example, and you know you don't want to give the child that, maybe because of his health, or sometimes they eat certain food and it purges them, sugary food or certain food, and it causes stomach trouble. But because the child cries too much and the child disturbs you too much, you now say, just take this thing and leave me. Take it and let me rest. That is what Omogbaje in Yoruba means. That is, you gave, it's not your perfect will for the child, but you gave the child permissively, just for the child to to so that was why God gave them a king. And when he gave them the king, what was the end of it? He said, I see the king that I gave you. See, at the end of the day, the king stripped you of your house, stripped you of your of your properties, ruled over you wrongly because he's human, is not a perfect ruler. I believe that
Yeah.
is how polygamy too entered into the old covenant, because people did had committed adulteries, and God wanted to avoid it to an extent. Okay, oh, take. That's why I said he gave David, or even with what he gave David, with the numerous wives and several wives, if he had asked God, he still went and committed adultery with someone else. So you see that you see that God's intention, original intention from the mouth of Jesus, which he didn't just say, he had to get his reference even from the book of Genesis, that God created what? Human being, male and female. And for this reason, a man will leave what? His father and his mother's house. He will cleave to his wife, not wives, and they will become one
One.
flesh. One flesh. That is two will become one flesh. So when a third party is coming into it, it's not, they are, the three of them cannot become one flesh. Then again, when you look at the when they came to meet Jesus in the book of Matthew chapter 22, can you open it? So let's, when we, instead of us to be asking, is this thing sin or is not sin?
Mm,
Let
mm.
us ask, is this love or is not love? That's the question we should be asking. Is this love or is it not love? Do you get that question? Okay,
Okay.
let's open to Matthew 22 from 22
Matthew
verse 10. Yes,
Matthew 22, verse what?
from 36 to 40.
Okay, I read. Teachers,
Mm,
which is the which is the most important commandment in the law of Moses?
yes.
37. Jesus replied, you must love the Lord your God with all your heart,
Mhm,
all your soul, and all your mind. Verse 38. This is the first and greatest commandment. Verse 39. A second is equally important, which means that I'm just trying to protest, is
yes,
equally important. They are not
yes,
above, and one is not above
yes,
other.
yes, yes.
Okay. This is the first greatest commandment, greatest, and second is equally important.
Important.
Love your neighbor as yourself.
Yes.
Verse 40, the
Mm-hmm.
entire law and all the demand of the prophets are based on these two commandments.
Good. So instead of asking, is it sin or it's not, because we may have endless debates whether it's sin or it's no sin. Because if I say it's sin, you can go and point to Second Samuel 12 verse 8 and say, okay, if it's sin, then why did God give David plenty wives or permitted him? Did God permit him to sin? So we should ask, is it love or is it not love? So when they were asking God which one is the greatest of the commandment, they asked Jesus. Jesus said what? Love God with all
Your,
your heart.
all your heart, your soul, your mind.
Love your neighbor as yourself. Now,
Self.
if I would engage in polygamous relationship, one woman is the first wife, isn't it? It was the first wife. If I enter into polygamous relationship, have I showed love to my first wife? That is a question. If I really love her, eh, will I go and marry another wife? Because,
Okay.
are you
All right.
getting
I
me?
want to. Yes, I get that, but I would like to
Yes,
come in from that side.
yes.
Now, many many uh husband, let me many men out there,
Yes.
uh many of them reason why they had a polygamous, not because they did not love their I'm just trying to think around them, you
Okay.
understand? Like to bring their own reality.
Mm. Hello.
Can you hear me now, sir?
I can hear you.
Yeah, sorry for that. Now, I'm trying to bring there's a difference when we preach, eh, and there's a difference when we how there's another different, how do we act, how do we implement those preaching into reality?
Mm.
Because the way reality happened at times, you know, that make me that make me that make me remember a story that happened. Yeah. Now let me just quickly tell you that story. So I just want our viewers to
Mm.
really, some people to know why I'm asking this question. They will not feel like
Okay.
this guy, an advocate of sin or sinner. You understand?
Mm.
Now,
Mm.
let me just see this. There was a woman. This is a reality story. Reality. Yes, sir. There's a woman in US. She does not have a house. She just traveled to US and just trying to get a passport in that country. So he attended winner. I think the story that is on social media. So he
Okay.
attended winner in US, in Texas. So I think he just gave birth to a baby boy or a girl. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. So he was in the church. I don't know what maybe he wanted to enter the car. Maybe his colleagues in the church, he entered the car to just you know try to on the car, not to really drive it. But unfortunately, because he is the learner, he accidentally put it on drive, and just the car just pass the road and drop into another person compound and go and hit a girl on a wall, and the girl
Mm.
die immediately. A
Yes.
10 years old girl. This is reality.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Now I'm trying to bring it so that we can really understand where I'm coming from.
Okay.
You know, the girl die, 10 years old girl. Now the mother now came on social media, was now saying that the church, he tried to involve lawyer, but the lawyer could not. They were dropping her case. She said she's a single mother,
Mm.
handed single mother. They are dropping her case. Why they were dropping her case? Because they discovered that that lady that mistakenly murdered her daughter,
Mm.
did not have any property, does not have anything. So it's not as if they are fighting for nothing. And if they capture the girl, they will just send her
Mm.
back to. You understand what I mean? So there's
Mm.
nothing they
Mm.
can really take from her, so that she self can feel. And though there's nothing that can replace life.
Mm.
So there's nothing they can fight for. So now
Mm.
where I'm going to now is that the girl ran away.
Okay.
You understand? The
Yeah.
mother was not coming on social, that was crying that he is going to, like, 3 months now, that girl cannot even call to say hello, just to call to say hello, I'm sorry. Do you understand?
Mm.
Now that girl that ran away, we no want to call, because if she call, they will track her in US
Okay. Okay.
and be put to punish. Can you
Mm.
understand? Can we understand where I'm coming from? I'm not trying to
Yes.
side the girl, but she could not. There's no way she could show up, because she's just trying to even get a visa. She brought down all her account on social media. Now, let us put this one in place. Let us try. I'm just trying to put this one so that we can understand where I'm coming from. Now,
Okay.
to where I'm going to now is that
Okay.
many guys,
Mm-hmm.
many man, the reason why they marry another wife is not that they don't love their wife again. Don't let me say many men. Don't let me use that word.
Okay.
Some men,
Okay.
not that they don't love their wife, because of like what we read in the Bible, just God is trying to satisfy them because they were their weakness. Because of their weakness, that was what made them fall into that trap
Okay.
again. Now, based on where we read that, can we call that love?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Can we call that love? If somebody made a mistake, let's say he commits fornication or adultery and he gets HIV, does it mean that he does not love himself? It doesn't mean that he does not love himself, but he made a mistake and he contracted HIV or AIDS, but he just has to bear the consequence, right? So, how can we implement, how can we put that into reality? You understand? I'm just trying to, do you understand where I'm coming from?
I'm following you.
uh How can we put that to put that into reality? You understand? For me
Okay.
personally,
Okay.
I will say some men, it's not that they don't love their wife. You understand? Even there are some men, they love their wife even despite they marry another wife. I'm not trying to promote polygamy. I'm not a lover of, I don't like polygamy families. I came from a polygamous family, but I don't promote that. I don't like it. And I pray that with the grace of God, nothing will make me find myself in that shoe by the special grace of God. So now,
Amen.
I'm just trying to say that many of them is not really, some of them, it's not really that they want to fight themselves. Not that they don't love, they still love their wife, but something happened, maybe due to the weakness of man, and that came to being. They they impregnate another woman, maybe due to the mistake of the wife. Do you understand? So how can we
How
balance
did
it
the
up?
wife make okay, let me
No, no,
when I say love.
I'm not saying,
Okay,
sorry, I'm
understand
not
you.
saying all women. I'm not saying all
I
women.
understand. I
Uh-huh.
understand
Yeah.
now. Now, when Jesus gave the law, he said, love God. Then the second is as equal as the first. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Do you understand? So you can't say, oh, these three must be, in fact, it's like as if like one, law 2A and 2B. The first one said love God. The
Love
second one
God.
says love your neighbor,
As
which
yourself.
if you check book of Ephesians
Mm.
chapter 5, I think from verse 23, said husband love your wife. Now, that is your neighbor in your relationship. The way you love yourself. By the time you start to engage in extramarital affair, it shows that you have taken your own needs above that of your wife. It means you are selfish. Yes, that is the meaning. It means such person is selfish. That's why the person take his own sexual desire above that of his wife. That is the meaning of the person doesn't love his wife. Love is not selfish. God's kind
Mm.
of love. So when you say, I love you, I love you, but I hurt you. What's the reason? What's the root of that hurt? Because you take your own interest above that of your neighbor. Now, when Jesus was giving the law of love, the love law, he didn't say you should love yourself above your neighbor. He said, love your neighbor the same way that you love yourself. So nobody will say, okay, he mistakenly or accidentally enter into a sexual relationship, because you did not, it's not like car accident that it just happened. It's not as if you fell on top of the woman. You took on certain processes. That's why you had to choose a hidden place to do it. You carefully planned it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are you getting me? You don't,
Mhm.
you don't marry a second wife by mistake. It's a carefully planned something. You had sexual desires, so if that was what pushed you, which
Mhm.
you camouflage under a weakness. You saw a lady and you say, okay, you have interest in that lady. At that moment, you have forgotten about your wife. Because if you remember your wife, you will not carefully plan how to sleep with another lady which is not your wife. It's question is planning. You don't do it. It's not like I'm walking and I fell down. So when somebody say mistakenly impregnate or mistakenly marry, it's a wrong statement, because
Yes.
it's a questioning, it's a carefully planned thing. You planned it question. So that's why I ask for someone to ask that question. Does that person really love the put the, if you say love, what is love itself? It's putting the need of your neighbor that you say you love above your own. Love does not do anything that hurts the other person. So you say you love the person and you are doing things that hurt the person. It questions that love. It questions that love. Love gives. Love does not envy. Are you getting me now? That's why I said the question that we should be asking is, do I really love my wife for me to carefully plan sexual relationship with another person? Because it's
Okay.
planned. Nobody, you don't do mistake. You don't fall on top of woman to for commit fornication with her.
Mhm.
David own is not a mistake. He
Mhm.
planned it. He was on top of his roof. He saw the lady. Ah, see this lady, very beautiful. Oh yeah, come, please, please, go and bring that lady for me. He did not, if it's okay, he dreamt. He now dreamt and saw the lady and committed fornication in the dream. We say that one is. But this one, he ordered them to go and bring the lady, committed fornication with the lady, number one. Now say, the lady is now pregnant. What do I do to cover this up? He planned the death of the husband. Are you getting me? So nobody, it's
Yeah.
not, it's wrong to say it's an accident. It's not an accident.
Accident. Okay.
It's not an accident. It's a planned something. Nobody tied you and put you into it. Nobody tied the person and put the person into it. Number one, the person will put himself in such situation that will warrant him to sleep with the other person. Abi, that's it. So we should be asking, if they say what is polygamous, for me to engage in polygamous relationship, I something is wrong between the my love, in the love, my, that is the way I love my first wife. It shows, my action shows that I don't love, because actions speak louder than words. My action shows that I don't love my first wife. My action shows that I put my sexual need above that of my wife. It will only be fair, you will only be correct if it's okay, the woman say I feel loved. But if you check the statistics, I will say, if I want to generalize, I will say no woman feel loved that you go and bring another, marry another person. No woman feel loved that way, to go and marry a second wife. to be with her in the same house, or even if not, no woman will feel loved to even share her husband with another woman. He won't see it as love. So if you really love your wife, if you really love your wife, the love of God, not love of shebi I love her, normally provide for her. Abi, you say if I don't
Yeah.
love her, will I be providing for her? Isn't it? Eh?
Yes. Yes.
That's another question people ask. But when you check First Corinthians chapter 13, it shows that there's a way you can love someone and do not, and you are giving to the person, and you don't love. He said, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here, sir.
Hello? Okay, let
I'm
me
here.
read the place. I want to read First Corinthians 3:13. He say, and though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, and have not love, it profits me nothing. So you could give yourself to be born, you could provide for the need of the wife, and you don't have love. What does it show? It shows that that is not love. You are giving. You say you are giving to her, but you took another woman above her, or you took your own sexual need above her own. You became selfish in your own approach. You can't say you love her. You may say, but I love you now. If I don't love you, will I give you any? Will I be feeding you? No, you don't love her. That is what God's kind of love is. So we may have someone who gives and doesn't have God's kind of love within himself. Then
Okay.
again, because of time, for the sake of those who may take on leadership position in the church, according to First Timothy 3 from verse 1 to 2.
Yeah, yes,
First
sir.
Timothy,
Yes, yes, sir.
yes,
Before we
3
go to
from verse
that,
1 to 2. Okay,
can you hear me, sir? Before we go to
okay,
that leadership, uh,
yes,
um, we want that is a very long discussion because I
okay,
have a lot of question on that. A lot of
okay,
question
okay,
bundle on
okay,
that side.
okay,
Good.
okay,
So, and I would just want to kind of round up for today. So because we
okay.
want to is it already 30 minutes from your hand?
It's 37 minutes.
Okay, 37 minutes.
Now
So we're going to
38.
round up
Yes.
from here so we can have our part three of the
Okay.
view of the New Testament. But I would like to touch one or two things of what you said. You said that love is the important thing in marriage
Yes.
that
Yes.
make marriage clip together. I
Mm.
um I have a question there, which I will quickly want you to touch on very fast.
Okay. Mm.
Love is the most important thing, and then if we want to talk about love, love itself is God. So
Yes.
love is perfection.
Yes.
Yes, it's perfection. You know. So can we say that people that are going to marriage, uh, love is perfection, love is patience, love is gentleness, love is tolerance, love is do they need in what this love is all about? Because what people see love is I love you, you love me. Ah, I love you so much. I can't sleep.
Yes.
I can't.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. When I don't see
Mm.
you, I won't be able to sleep. Because when they now
Mm.
marry now, they'll be seeing themselves every second.
Yes.
So there will not be. I can't. If I didn't see you, I cannot sleep. Now you can sleep. So
Yes.
that part of it will definitely perish the moment you married.
Yes. Mm.
You understand? I feel like where are you? I want to enter the sun. I want to enter the rain to come and see where you are. Even the wife will say, don't worry, I don't want to enter the sun. That part of it will perish immediately the moment you
Yes.
married.
Yes.
So, is there any qualification that can really encourage, that can really help the youth of today's? Because we can see
Okay.
that there are a lot of divorce, even in the Christendom
Mm.
or outside the world. There are a lot of divorce, marry today, break tomorrow. Is there any ingredient, before we even go about the leaders, I want to quickly want us to
Okay.
round up. Is there any ingredient they need to have before they can decide to say, oh, I'm ready for the marriage? I want you to just use 1 to 2 minutes to just tell us that. Then we can round off. Then we can talk about the part three. Go fully into it in our part three. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Because there's one thing that people dwell on, the emotional state. Just emotion.
Mm,
Emotion is feeling, and feeling is
mm,
not reliable. Feeling is not constant. In science,
mm,
we know what we call electron. We said when
mm,
electron gains a lot of energy, that is excited. When an
mm,
electron is excited, it will go up, shoot to the highest level. When it gets to that highest level, after dissipating all its energy, it will come down to the lowest level. So when we dwell on just emotional level of love, we are like electron that shoots to high, that is excited. After a while, we cannot stay on that excited state for a long time. We begin to fall down. Do you understand? So by the time we see law not just as emotion but as a choice, I chose or I choose this person, and therefore as I choose her, I choose to love her, and I become intentional in my approach, in the way I treat her. I do not use emotions. It's even the emotion that lead to polygamy, when you use emotions to judge your thing. It's
mm,
emotions. So you don't
mm,
want to dwell on emotional states. You want to dwell on the level of I choose, level of choice. It's choice. And when you choose something, you do everything to make sure that it works, because you choose. You are responsible. That is responsibility. When you choose something, you are responsible for that choice. So you become responsible in your marriage relationship. The marriage will work. In such case, you now start doing everything to make it work. You look for knowledge, you look for
mm,
understanding.
mm,
How do I understand this person? How do I get
mm,
knowledge how to behave in such a way? How do I change myself first before I seek about changing the other person? That is what love is all about. Love. That's why in the fruit of the spirit, he said the fruit of spirit is love. When he used
mm,
love in book of Galatians chapter 5, love is just like the outer shell that encloses every other thing. He didn't say the fruit of the spirit are love, joy, patience, kindness, long suffering. No, he said the fruit of the spirit is love. So all of them combined, they are what makes love. And when you check 1 Corinthians chapter 13, he said love suffers long. That means it endures everything. That is patient. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not
no,
exhaust itself.
sir,
Love is
sir,
humble and all those kind of things.
I don't really want you to even go to that part because it's bringing many questions out. Seriously, like if you want to talk about the what is going on today is that in marriage, when you feel that your husband is beating you, which is very wrong, very wrong. Are you there? Hello, hello, hello. So, hello, guys. He's going to join us back, and I would like to say this to you. If you want to be part of this uh, program, you can join us on. You can join us through the link. If you want to be part of us, reach out to me through DM me on my WhatsApp. We can give you link to join us on this platform for question. And based on what he said, like he said, he told us that everything is love, which come from the two side, the husband and the wife. Both of them are need to sacrifice to seek for knowledge, understanding on how to make their marriage keep on going on, tolerance, patience, and endurance to keep the marriage going on. So both of them have to seek more, have to make it work, you know, to make that love be alive in the family. So we're going to round up here because of our time. We're going to continue from our part three of this polygamous part three New Testament view. So join us in the next uh, live discussion. So thank you so much. My name is Joseph Riches. So have a wonderful day. Bye.